Hello there, welcome to another talk. And this talk is called The Word is Arousal. You're probably thinking, what the hell is your way to talk about now? But no, the reason I called this talk The Word is Arousal is because uh, I've been listening to audiobooks for maybe about over a year now, and some of them I've listened to psychiatry kind of people talking about how to heal traumas, and they use the word trauma. Psychotherapists use the word arousal, and also sex therapists as well use the word arousal. Now, why do they use the same word? Because that's basically what what trauma is. Sexual arousal or any kind of arousal, whether it's the arousal is can be arousal to feel something. It can be arousal to feel pain. It can be it's that thing which really strikes you. It can be sexual, food. It can be anything, like an attraction thing, and you feel it. It's strong. That is actually the arousal that you feel, and doesn't matter what it is traumas manifested. And this is not me making it up. This is doing research for a while, well over a year now, and listen to psychotherapists, sex therapists, psychiatrists, and they all use that same word, and that's because they're related. Uh, and that's why I said this in my last talk, or one of my last talks, that this is why they demonize sexuality, pornography. It's all demonized and skewed and manipulated because it's a healer, and they don't want healer. If they could get away with it, if the system, in my opinion, could get away with it, they would ban spirituality, and then that's coming. I don't know, but that's what they would like to do. But back to the topic in hand. So that's basically what arousal is. So this talk is really, it can be for anybody. It can be someone that's got a food addiction. It can be someone that's got a drug addiction. I used to have drug addictions. I used to have alcohol addictions. Don't have any addictions now, and I mean really bad. If it wasn't alcohol, it'd be drugs. Either one or the other. And I don't do drugs or drink alcohol now. Don't do neither. Even on special occasions, I just prefer to have a slur that like tastes like wine, but it's just juice. I don't drink alcohol or anything like that. Take supplements. I like supplements and health things like that. But back to the talk. Yeah, how I got over that was I had an unexpected spiritual awakening at the age of 24. 10 years later, I'm 34 now, and that's how I healed and went within. Like Jesus Christ once said, the kingdom of God is within you. But on that pathway, it was within, I didn't know what was going on at the start. But in that, you're healing your traumas, and that's how I able to overcome anxiety that I had, depression that I had. Haven't been depressed since I was 28. That was the last time I consider myself to have a last day of depression. I was 28 when depression all went away. Depression to me is when I just felt I couldn't go on anymore. And that just went away at 28. What I consider to be real depression. I haven't had that since the age of 28. I've been stressed. I've not lately, but I've had moments of annoyance or sadness, but no what I would consider depression. Depression is a very, very dark state where you're capable of doing something crazy to yourself. But in that, there's an arousal also. You know, the feeling of the depression, that's the arousal, right? So arousal is that thing that whatever thing that you're aroused by, it's a very, very strong feeling. Now, the level of strength of that arousal, whether it's sexual addictions, it's based on trauma, because what you're actually trying to do, the natural part of you that's getting aroused is actually seeking fulfillment. And the reason it's doing this is because it is the easiest way to heal yourself and your psyche and your traumas is by pleasure. But that's why you don't hear about that. I mean, there's only, a few people that I've heard, myself, in the whole world talking about this, and these are like famous people that talk about that. Uh, I watched a few years ago a channeler, I think it was, and she was saying the Pleiadians say that joy is the quickest way to ascension. Yes, absolutely. That's why they tell you not to do that. You see, Buddhism talks about it. Nirvana is basically uh, what Buddhists say is that nirvana is the state that you enter after once you go with what you want. So basically, in regards to pleasurable arousals, if you go with that, it's a way of healing, right? But so this is the way to heal. But my awakening was very, very harsh, very traumatic, because I didn't know anything about that then. I was just had a massive awakening, didn't know what was happening. uh, I had a rebirthing experience where I was getting thought forms, and not voices, but very strong thought forms coming in, basically experiencing being in the womb all over again. It was a crazy experience that lasted for about 2 weeks, and then I went through this pathway of healing. The rebirthing, I do talk about, and I will in the future in other talks. But on that pathway is this healing thing. I'm dealing with sensations and arousal, and what I noticed is the arousal would change as I was healing to different forms in the body. You know, and so that's what happens as you heal. And I've learned that the easiest way to heal is actually not how I heal, but it's actually through pleasure. Right? It's actually just if you aroused by something to listen to it. You see? And there's a book I'm reading just now by Anton LaVey, The Satanic Bible. Now, when you read it, it's nothing to do with Satanism. It's not, it's nothing about sacrificing anything. It's just basically very. I think it's very similar to Buddhism, and the book is basically telling you to just basically serve yourself, and that if you don't do that, then you're suppressing what you want, and it'll make you unhappy. So basically, that the Satanic Bible, it's you hear it and you would think, oh, that sounds bad, but when you read it, like I've read quite a bit of it now, and the reason I brought that in is because that you know relates to what I'm talking about. To serve yourself, Buddhism talks about it in terms of nirvana, like I mentioned earlier. So on this healing journey, basically, after a number of years, maybe halfway through it, I started to work with these arousals. Whether it be sexual arousals, whether it be drug arousals, alcohol arousals, other arousals, and listen to it. And don't think that you've failed if you go with the arousal. If it's drugs, if it's alcohol, if it's sex, if it's something else. You see? Because then once you go with that arousal, you're able to let go. Because what's actually happening is the arousal is there so that you go with it, so that you let go of that trauma that's making you aroused. So that's why I say that that arousal is trauma manifested. So basically, this awakening has learnt me, you know, to be very, very sensitive to what I feel, my body, everything like that. And that's the way you've got to be. That's how you heal yourself. You know, you've got to be very body aware, very self aware, very body aware. And then when you go with that arousals, what you find is you're letting go of a lot when you do that. Than if you fight them. You see? Like, for example, I talk about semen retention, but I wouldn't tell someone to practice semen retention if they want to have sex or if they want to, you know, masturbate or something like that. I would say do what you feel the sensations are telling you to do. Don't fight. And then what will happen is you'll get to a state where these arousals, you know, you're strong now. And so the arousals, they see, like I mentioned a moment ago, the arousals are a teacher. You see, and that's what they are. The traumas manifested. And what you find with people that are on big ascension paths, you know, you're going deeper within, healing deeper wounds. You see, and ultimately, the more you heal, the more bliss you feel, and that's how you get women and men as well. That there's a thing called an energy orgasm, and that comes when you've healed your wounds. I've not had that, but in my experience all the time, I've had to change my diet years ago, and even now, more because the energies that you start to feel as you feel more and more. Because what's happened is these divine energies, they feel. It's called they're tantric energies, which is your life force energy, your core essence, which is basically sexual life force energy, like orgasmic energy. And you can look it up. That's why there's a thing called an energy orgasm. But those women that you see on the videos, they don't just walk into a yoga studio and do that. They've been on ascension paths for many years. Some people have spiritual awakenings. I know Ralph Smart had a spiritual awakening when he was a teenager. But so what I'm saying is, so just listen to the arousals, whatever it is, whether it's a reaction to what someone said, a sexual arousal, what you want, and don't feel bad about anything. You see, that's a mind. I don't want to swear, use bad language, but it's a mind trick. That they're playing on you, and what this does, it blocks these orgasmic energies from awakening, and that's why we've got a bunch of sheeple thinking that they're virtuous, intelligent people. A terminology that I created myself is spiritual retardedness, and that is basically what we're dealing with: spiritual retardedness. We're with people that aren't spiritually evolved, spiritually awake, spiritually aware. You see? And that's what this all that's going on right now, it's all because of the awakening. We're heading into this new earth, and that's why I'm here doing this talk. I'm meant to be doing this talk at this very moment, because the divine source organizes everything perfectly, and it's like a movie, and everything's perfect within the movie. And how you access sources within yourself. That's your connection to it. And as Jesus Christ apparently once said, I'm not religious, but he apparently said, the kingdom of God is within you. And that is how you work with yourself and your arousals and heal everything. And I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, news, research, songs I'm singing and writing, do check my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.